This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbott.
I'd like to punch him in the face. Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?
If they don't respect the referendum, then why bother voting? I love Anne Widdecombe. How can you not love Anne? Well, okay, love's a strong word. I like Anne. Well, like's a strong word too. Yuri Spoonbender has claimed that it was he that flooded the House of Commons this week, utilising the power of his mind, which makes as much sense as anything else I've heard lately. Exactly. MPs were forced to end proceedings early this week after torrents of water began pouring through the ceiling, and Yuri Spoonbender claimed that responsibility for the leak laid with him. He said, "Yes, I did it. I bent the pipes and I won't apologise. You all deserve it." That's what he said. Correctamundo. He's got that right. In an attempt to add more evidence to the claim, he also posted another follow-up tweet which purports to show him discovering a leak at the Uri Geller Museum in Jaffa in Israel. Can you believe that? That there's such a thing as a Uri Geller Museum. In the tweet, he posted a video of himself fixing the pipe. Himself. He fixes the pipe in his own museum. Wow, this is just getting weirder and weirder. He said, "This is the pipe that I discovered was leaking yesterday at around 12:40 UK time in the coffee shop at the Uri Geller Museum. It's a very nice coffee shop with a museum attached." He said, "I had to remove a stone to get it." Well, there's all sorts of jokes that I can make in there. You can make your own up.
Want to score some pot?
He said, "I had to remove a stone to get it. This is me filming it. And this is when I got the idea. Parliament, I can't sack 'em, but I can soak 'em," he said. You know, I think that Yuri might have accidentally bent his mind. He sent an open letter to Theresa May last week. Many people are sending open letters to Theresa May. You think she's reading any of them?
No.
Of course not. She's busy, up to her eyeballs, with negotiations on Brexit. How are they going, by the way?
Oh, fabulous.
Anyway, Yuri sent an open letter to Theresa May, in which he claimed he would stop a Brexit telepathically. He said, "I feel physically and very strongly that most British people do not want Brexit." Well, that is true. Most British people do not want Brexit. And please don't call in and recite 17.4 million people at me. He said, "I love you very much. I really love you," he said to Theresa May. "But I will not allow you to lead Britain into Brexit." He said, "As much as I admire you..." God, he's really piling it on, isn't he? Steady on, Yuri. He said, "As much as I admire you, I will stop you telepathically from doing this. And believe me, I am capable of executing it." Uh-oh.
Warning, warning.
Probably not a good idea to use the word executing in the same sentence as the Prime Minister, because that'll get you flagged up by the all-seeing eye of the security services. You'll have men in combat gear burst through your windows. That'll put a kink in your cutlery. I think it's a good job that we sold those German water cannon. You know, the German water cannon that when Boris was mayor. What did I used to call him? Boris was mayor. I used to call him. What did I used to call him? Huh?
I don't know.
You don't know. Well, I should know because I must have said it 1,000 times. It was something about a clown. Almost certainly.
Yeah. Wait a minute.
Yeah, something about a clown and the mayor. What did I used to call him? Oh, that's embarrassing. I can't remember anything anymore. Still, never mind. But anyway, Bozo the mayor. That's right. He was a right mayor, by the way, from memory. He bought a couple of German water cannon. Maybe I should just give up and go home now. He bought a couple of German water cannon in order to hose the poor off the streets, something like that. But I think Mrs. M said, "Hell no, they must go," and we sold them. The current mayor, whoever that is, sold them to a scrapyard, I think. But it's a good job because now we've got Yuri Spoonbender. He can produce water just by thinking about it. We could use him as our Waffen Squirter 9000s. We could get our Defence Secretary, Gavin Williamson, to mount him on a tractor. Or a cow. That'll show Vladimir Putin. Oh, he'll never have seen anything like it, said Gavin Williamson. 0345 6060 973. This is a bit of a keen call. Should I be alarmed about this, the keenness of this call?
I don't think so.
No, have you checked him out thoroughly? An echoing silence. So I'll assume that the answer is no. So, all right. Oh, all right then. Catford. Hello, Steve.
Hi, Nick. Yes, I'm just astonished, really, at my own ignorance.
Me too.
Most of my contemporaries, most of my the people that live in this country, we haven't got a clue. Almost, I did a sort of straw poll. I mean, 5 people that I know, asked them what customs...
Well, as long as it was representative, yeah. 5 people you know.
I'm not going to put this forward as a vote, but none of them knew what a customs union was.
No, nobody knew then what a customs union was, what a single market was, what WTO was, and what, more alarmingly, still nobody knows.
No. But they're pretending that they know now, because I heard a chap today use the term vassal state.
Oh God! Not him again! Not him again! Vassal state.
But exactly.
You know, this country has become a kneeling supplicant.
No, it wasn't him. It was some bloke from Dagenham or something.
Oh, that bloke.
Said it. And,
Dagenham.
He said. And the person replied, said, well, where did have you ever used, has anyone in the whole world ever used that?
Ever. No.
So we know nothing.
Yeah.
Absolutely
well, I
know
nothing.
Apart from the fact that it's probably better to remain in a union.
Yes, that is the will of the people.
Correct.
Over and over and over again, that has been proved to be correct, that the will of the people is to remain. Still, never mind, we're leaving, because now we're being run by whoever shouts the loudest.
Yeah, and I find that a little bit... I mean, I have tried. I read The Guardian.
You sound like you're at the end of your tether, Steve. This is only just beginning. We're only 3 years in.
I know. I'm going to be dead when this all finishes. Yeah. That's what annoys me.
Well, how old are you? How old are you?
Oh, you don't want to know. Nick.
Plenty old enough. Yeah,
I'm the same age as you, old bean.
Oh God! Well, you will be dead then by the time this is all over.
So yeah, 1960 I was born. So
60 was a tremendous year. 1960 was probably the best year in history to have been born, because you were 13 in 1973, which is a pretty good year. But crucially, you were 16 in 1976.
Rock and roll!
Exactly.
Probably the best year for music in the history of music.
Yes, I would agree. I think we've had this discussion before.
Over and over again, yeah.
I agree. But I don't know. I've tried to find out what a customs union is. I have tried to
oh, well, wait a minute.
Explore the...
You've actually tried and failed. Just look it up on the... Do they have the internet in Catford?
No, they don't.
Oh, no, I've just dropped my old phone. I hope it hasn't broken, and I'll have to get a new one.
I look it up, but I forget, and I think, oh God, what is it? But I don't know. But why on earth are we in this position?
Why? Well, I'll tell you why. It's because some moon-faced dope asked a stupid question and got a stupid answer.
I think this is nonsense.
Mentioning no names.
Yeah, where is he? He's still in his shed.
Still in his shed with the tools. Yeah, keeping him company.
Writing his biography, and
yeah, sure he is.
I don't know. That's
okay. Well, there it is. I don't know. Encapsulate. You should have just said that at the beginning. We could have saved a lot of time.
Yes.
All right. Thanks a lot, Steve. Ta-ta. Try and gather your thought. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Let me just remind you about my super sore. Hey, my voice sounds a little bit, hey now. I mean, it's not as deep as Nick Ferrari's, But then whose is? Apart from the guy that does the cinema adverts. He's a cop on the edge. You know, those ads. And the reason why my throat is like this is because I got a face full of builder's dust. I was unloading rubble into a giant skip at the reusable facility where they take your stuff and make it into something else. Doing my bit for the environment. Groovy. And I got blowback, but I was chucking bricks in there and it burst something and I got a face full of dust. And I've been feeling ill. Well, not ill exactly, but as though I'd been poisoned all week long. I feel that I've actually damaged myself.
Stop whining.
I do. And I would love to know, well, I probably wouldn't love to know at all what it was that I inhaled a lot of, but I can still taste it. It's awful. It's almost certainly poisonous, and I'll have knocked a couple of years off my life. And annoyingly, those were going to be the good years. 0345 6060 973. Let me remind you about my podcast, which is out right now. The most recent edition is available on an internet near you. And this week it's got lots of James Bond, a little bit of Idris Elba, a lot of marching, and a very nice woman has a tangle with security. I think you'll find it amusing. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. And you can find it if you download Global Player. Then Apple people can find it on their version of that app. I think we're still working on it for Android, but if you look at wherever they give away podcasts, you'll find it there. Ask for it by name, the Nick Abbot Habit.
LBC. This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Hello, boys.
Well, would you like me to explain what the customs union is?
No.
The customs union is where we all share the same customs. Like, because in the EU, you have to act like the Belgians and put mayonnaise on chips. I may have that wrong. In a single customs union, the member states have agreed to charge the same import charge duties and allow free trade between themselves. This means that their relationship between member states and the outside world has already been established. Is that clear so far?
Negative.
If the clear... See, I knew it was coming and it still makes me laugh. It's probably the builder's dust. Did I tell you that I had a face full of builder's dust earlier in the week?
Whinging and whining and moaning.
If the UK remains in the customs union, it would limit its ability to strike its own trade deals, these huge and tremendous deals. Critics have argued that the new trade deals would boost Britain's economy after the post-Brexit slump and open the jobs market between us and other international partners. You know, us are selling stuff to America that we don't already sell, like... You know, there's all the things that we make that America isn't buying from us already, like, No, I can't think of anything at all. And neither can anybody else, by the way. So that's the customs union. Shall I tell you about the single market?
No.
All right, then. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Nottingham. Hello, Greg.
Yes, how do you do, Nick?
How do you do, Greg?
I'm first caller, I should say, to your good self.
Oh, yes. How do you do?
How do you do? Good evening or good night, as it almost is.
Yes. How do you do?
I had a dream.
I had a dream.
About
yes.
Who's going to sort out the withdrawal from the European Union.
Now, were you wearing a nappy during the course of this dream? Because I have a theory about that.
Carry it on, please. Yes. You have a theory. Well, I've had a dream and a bit of a theory, yes. It's to do with the royal prerogative, the crown prerogative, which was tried to be invoked earlier, but it was pushed away, wasn't it, through the courts?
Well, I don't think... Who tried to invoke it?
Well, Nick, dear Nick, it was about a year or so ago, I think, during the continuous debates about European withdrawal.
On they've been going. I can't stand it anymore.
No. Well, I think, you see, the powers that be in the government tried to invoke the royal prerogative. That would mean that they would make all these decisions without referring to Parliament.
Right.
But I can do better than that. My dream is the royal prerogative, practically speaking, is And I think probably the Right Honourable Soames is in a better place to suggest this to the Royal House than I am. He said, I'll just be brief, shall I? Yeah. Charles, Prince of Wales, ought to, with permission of his mother, the monarch, ought to take his seat in the House of Peers. And he would be accompanied with whomever he liked. I would suggest the Duke of Cambridge and the Princess Royal for a start.
Right, so you're suggesting that the royal family take over? Is that what you're saying? Because then we'd be a lot better run with that family of misfits. Is that what you're saying, Greg? I'm sorry, I can't hear you above this racket. Unfortunately, we appear to have lost him. That's the first time you called. Wow, haven't I been lucky? Thanks a lot, Greg. 0345 6060 973. Caro says, so is Brexit now Flexit? Okay, I think I'm going to have to draw... This is my red line. Never mind about Mrs. M's red lines. This is mine. There's too many annoying words in this whole... I mean, we're talking about this way too much for there to be too many annoying words. And this new one, I hate it. I dislike it a very great deal.
I hate it!
And, I'll get into that in a minute. Ron says, how is it that MPs can pass a law by one vote in one day but can't sort out a treaty in over 1,000 days? Well, it's complicated, Ron. Tony says, if Geller claims he caused the flooding, then why not send him the bill? That's a good idea. I mean, he's got enough money, ain't he? What with all the fortune that bending things has brought in. How do you make money out of that? Bending things. Hello? Paul says, Mark Frost... Oh, God. Just when you thought it was going just fine, along comes a certain individual. Oh, no. Marc Francois wasn't happy when the result of the vote to cancel No Deal came in, winning by one single vote. He was absolutely fuming, although I found it hilarious when he started quoting biblical texts. Oh, he didn't. He just gets funnier and funnier. I mean, just the very name, Marc Francois. He's jollied up the place, I think. He's a national treasure. On the same lines, but it is a bit like a Punch and Judy show, isn't it? Somebody should bring on the bloke with the big stick. Or the crocodile would be a good idea. Set a crocodile loose among them. That'll teach them. And Derek says, I feel sorry for the people who have been stocking up for Brexit. By the time it happens, all the products will be past their use-by dates. Oh, you can still use them past their use-by dates. They'll be fine. And that is the official position of LBC. Don't look at the dates, just eat it. And tell us what happens later. Graham says, apparently the latest poll says the inhabitants of that great wilderness beyond the M25 think a no-deal Brexit is mightily popular. By the way, the 1950s was an era of great rock and roll. The 70s paled into insignificance. Sorry you missed it, Nick. We're completely incorrect in every respect. Oh. What would it be in a skip full of builder's rubble that could make me feel as though I was being poisoned to death? I mean, I've thought about asbestos, that somebody had just come up with a load of asbestos and dumped it surreptitiously in a skip, because getting rid of asbestos is quite expensive, and, you know, some builders do like to cut corners. If you can believe that.
Yes.
So I thought maybe I just got a face full of asbestos. But I've already had a face full of asbestos about 30 years ago when I was working in the basement of the Coal Board, which used to be on that street that's just opposite the Buckingham Palace. I went... stupid. I've done so many stupid things in my life. I went there as a day worker because I was on this agency, and they send you to some hellhole office when you fill in for a temp, and then on another day you're pulling tiles off the roof of a school with no safety harness of any, you know, like I'm 6 floors up, just yanking tiles off this vertiginous slope. This was the day before health and safety had even been thunk of. And they sent me down to the basement of the Coal Board, which as I said, is in Victoria. Well, it was in Victoria. It probably, almost certainly doesn't exist anymore and hasn't done for a very long time. There being no coal no more. And they said, we've got all of these things that were... all these plates, not plates, they were like thin... the size of a thin paving stone. Sort of about 3 foot by 2 foot. And there was thousands of them in this basement. God knows what they were in there for. And it was asbestos. And me and this other dope who had been sent along, some kid from Spain, I think, we were tasked with picking them up and putting them on a conveyor belt that would take them up and out of the basement to be disposed of in places unknown. And within about 5 minutes, the basement was absolutely thick with the dust from these asbestos tiles. I mean, so that you couldn't really see from one end of the room to the other. And we didn't have any breathing apparatus or even... And about halfway through, I rose a hand to the fellow that had scarpered after he told us what to do. And he just checked in on us after a while. And I said, shouldn't we be wearing some kind of mask or something? And so he gave us one of those sort of paper builder's masks. There you go, that'll do. And don't worry, this is the safe asbestos. Is there such a thing? I've always wondered about that. But anyway, I've just got a redose. Not that I'm complaining or anything.
Stop whining.
And I've been tasting it ever since. It's just, so if I expire, then you'll know who to blame. Whoever dumped a load of whatever it is in the, it was probably Vladimir Putin. I knew he'd get me in the end. Caro says, so is Brexit now Flexit? Have I read that one? Ron says, how is it that I've read that one? Tony says, and I've read that one. Derek says, I've read that one. Carrie says, if we get a flex tension, will it be called a Flexit? And will we get a never-endum? This is just getting too annoying. I'm glad I'm dying. Chris says, if Parliament had an ounce of integrity and respect for the democratic process or the people of this country, they would leave on WTO on April the 12th, says Chris, who I would bet every item of clothing that I'm wearing right now has no idea what that would entail. We just want Brexit. as though it's the ticket to nirvana. If only we can get Brexit, then life will be so much better. Won't it be great to be out onto the other side, in the land of Brexit, where all will be perfumed and you'll never get a face full of builder's rubble dust? 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC. Hey, it's 10:30, the news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
Leading Britain's conversation, LBC, with Nick Abbott.
And I can't stand him.
Richard says, apart from...
It's the most wonderful time of the year.
Paddy McGuinness here to tell you about the ultimate holiday perk with On the Beach. Free fast-track airport security. So pack those shades, slap on your best smug face, and enjoy that sweet fast-track freedom. On the Beach. Book like a genius, holiday like a fool.
Conditions apply. 4-star holidays, 7-night minimum stay. Outbound only from selected airports with 6 people. Adult protected.
On the beach.
Larry, Downing Street's mouser. Nobody else in Downing Street seems to know what they're doing. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. Keith says, vote for Jez. He'll sort it all out. Wow, you know you're in a right state when a man in a beard is who will be our next superhero. Squid says, I blame Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie for it all. If it wasn't for Brangelina, the word Brexit wouldn't exist. And that's probably right. Yeah, thanks a lot, Brad. Thanks a lot, Angie. Paul says there's a cure, especially for those suffering after breathing in builder's dust, but you need to get hold of some industrial-strength carpet cleaner to make it. So what do? You pop it, snort it, sniff it, what?
Groovy.
0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Ilford. Traden.
Yes.
Is there? Yes, sir. Better late than never.
Better late than never, yeah. Right. I would like to ask you,
Oh, God.
If it wasn't,
Here we go.
here we go. If it wasn't for the immigration and the lie about 350 million to NHS, how many people, I'm sorry to mention the figure 17.4 million, would have voted the other way and not voted for leaving EU?
Well, yes. Plus, if it had been compulsory, which it should have been, of course, then there would have been. We wouldn't have been talking about this for the last 3 years. There would have been no discussions.
But the discussion about the immigration has never come, and I think if it wasn't for that, the vote would be in the other way around.
Yeah, I think
Don't
you're
you
right.
think so?
Yes, I do think so. Wow, we're in concord. We're the only people in the country who can agree on anything.
Well, there was no discussion, as you mentioned, as many mentioned before, and I have been saying for months about the customs union, about everything else.
Everything else.
Except now. It all came now, not then.
Right. Whatever you just said, yeah. Let's not complicate it, Trayden. We agreed on one thing. I think that we should throw caution to the wind and get married. What do you say?
Well, yes, and I think we should be giving second opinion, second chance.
Right.
The people should be given second chance because
second opinion.
they're wiser now than they were then.
Okay, well, tell me about it at the church. All right, thanks a lot, Trayden. 0345 12 o'clock sharp. 0345 6060 973. Paul says there's a cure. No, I've read that. Oh, God. I'm going to have to start deleting them myself, I guess. I do work 6 hours a week. Do I have to do everything? Jack says, politicians on Question Time last night said, I don't think people have changed their mind. Let's not base it on thinking. Let's get the people to vote May's deal or remain. I've changed my mind because of you and James O'Brien. Well, mostly James O'Brien, be honest. Not me. I'm just a dope that plays cow noises on the radio. And I can't even get that right. Jack says, I feel stupid. I voted to leave now, but I'm happy to admit I've changed my mind because the alternative is to admit that I'm still stupid. Well, it ain't me saying it. It's him. And Jonathan says, why don't we put Boris Johnson in charge of Brexit and then delay Article 50 until we get our cake and eat it? What do you say, Boris? Think about it. 0345 6060 973. Here is a boy named Sue. It's Mike in Beverley.
Hi, Nick. Nice to talk again.
Mike.
Yeah, I'd like to ask you a question.
Oh, God, all these questions.
No, terrible. What do you think would happen if we had a general election and one of the major parties won with a narrow majority of, say, 5 or 10, and then the Electoral Commission decided that the election had been fraudulent? Do you think that the parties would just say, oh, well, that's okay, it would be divided to have another election? Or do you think that people would actually insist on having another election?
Yeah, exactly right. It's amazing that nobody's talking about this. It's just astonishing with all of the evidence that keeps piling up that the referendum was hooky in every way, shape and form. It was dodgy money coming from, and we still don't know where the money's coming from. Who's spending all this money on trying to get us out in the most stern possible Brexit possible?
Exactly, but what do you think, if that had happened in a general election, do you think they would insist on a rerun, or do you think they'd just say, no, it'd be too divided to have another one?
Yeah, no, I thought that that's the same question again. I thought we'd agreed on that it would be rerun. I mean, I didn't say it, but I think my response implied we are in agreement. That's 2 callers I'm in agreement with. Can you believe that?
No.
Of course we would rerun it. Of course we would, because it was a hooky result. And the same thing could be levelled at the referendum, but nobody seems to be remotely interested in saying, well, hang on a minute, it was done through illegal measures. vast amounts of money that we still have got no idea where it came from was spent. We don't really know who is behind all this. Shouldn't somebody actually, look into it, crying out loud?
I think that's great. And your last little bit about Boris that you just said, my other point with that is that he's touted as being a possible Prime Minister.
Oh.
I mean, this man was saying that historic paedophile cases shouldn't be investigated. It was a waste of money.
Yeah, he said a very rude thing. Well, don't say it, Mike. You can get away with that on the breakfast show, but you can't get away with it late at night when no children are listening. All right, thanks a lot, Mike. What do you say, Boris?
Here we go.
Yeah,
okay.
Well, you go, and we'll catch up. The Prime Minister. God, you must be joking. I mean, we're a laughing stock already. That would just tip us over the edge. I think even the you-know-who, the screaming Mimi in the wine house. Well, has nobody thought of that before? That was a mistake. I just invented something. It's not the White House anymore. It's the wine house.
I'm a whiner, and I keep whining and whining.
I have definitely affected my health by dropping by trying to do the right thing, by dropping some bricks in the recycling. Whoever got there before me put something very, very dodgy in there. I don't know what it was, but I got a face full of it. Chris says, what with that carpet cleaner? That was a few shows ago now. For those new to this, they clean the carpets in here with some industrial strength pollutant, and I barely made it out of here alive. My head was spinning, and not in a good way. He says, what with the carpet cleaner and the builder's dust, you're not having much luck health-wise, are you? I hope you've made your will, says Chris. Is that supposed to make me feel better? David says, my Brexit stockpile is made up of Italian Parma ham, Greek olives, German sausage and French biscuits. If there's a no-deal outcome, can I legally eat these items, or will I be accused of being a hypocrite? I want you to put them in a box and send them to me, Dave. Except for the German sausage. You never know what's in that stuff. 0345 6060 97. A mystery meat. I'm not a big fan, not really. Merton. Hello, Scott.
Oh, good evening, Nick.
Scott.
Just wanted to make a comment that's sort of like repeating something that happened on Question Time last week, and it was sort of like commenting that main difference between England in terms of the vote that went on was that from like the rest of the areas of the UK was that we didn't actually get any devolved assembly when any of them did. That sort of London gained a greater assembly with a London mayor. Scotland got a parliament. Wales got a national assembly, and Northern Ireland got a parliament.
Yeah.
They got a better sense of representation, while Westminster over the last 50 years has been a lot more national and international. So I can understand why English people have felt underrepresented.
Really? Because I would say that from the position of the Scots and the Irish and the Welsh, that the London Parliament is rather, never mind about England-centric, it's London-centric, and their concentrations are on what happens in London and its surrounding areas, commuter belt, and then their interest starts to dissipate the further outside of the M25 they get. I think that the national parliament is England's parliament in the eyes of those outside of England, isn't it?
To an extent. I mean, so when they were tackling these issues, when they were first doing the devolution, they sort of like tried to give, so obviously it wasn't going to go full independence, but they gave Scotland control over stamp duty, over generating its own loans. So really what I'm thinking about is this is more for local councils within England, so who over the last 10 years have seen so much austerity, and they've had their budgets controlled, whereas Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland have had a little bit more independence in terms of their own budget arrangements with their local councils. So it has mitigated this austerity to an extent, and as we saw during the Scottish independence vote, they were more happy with the arrangement within the EU being in the UK, as long as they were sort of, there was that representation there. And there's a reason why London, Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland all voted very, very differently to how England did.
Right. Yes, I see your point. I don't have much to add to it, but yeah, I guess so. We have a very centralised locus of control in this country. It's mummy knows best attitude.
I think just you see in other countries, you have bicameral legislatures where you have like national focused house, like a Senate, and then you have a local focused house representative. And whereas the other three areas got a similar sort of idea of a house of representatives, England still just has the one, and our MPs have to do both national, international, and local. Whereas a Scottish MP, their council may be a bit better looked after by their own council, so they can focus a bit more on being national and international. Their job is, I mean, this is obviously a bit more ideal and oversimplified, but fundamentally, you've got a bit more representation. It gets people a little bit more interested in politics, a bit more engaged.
Well, I don't know. Are people more engaged about local politics than national politics? I'm not sure that's true.
When they feel they can have an effect, like the Brexit referendum, when they feel like they can actually have some input. And over the last 30 years, we've seen growing apathy in the vote. Every time we have an election, it reduces and reduces because people feel that representatives aren't chasing their votes, and quite correctly in some regions, because they can get by on party support. But if you actually make some of these local council positions a bit more authoritative, a bit more control over their finances, they don't become equal to an MP, but they also generate their own interest, in the local area. You can.
Yeah, well, I think you have a good point. But unfortunately, the people that could enact such legislation are the ones that would disapprove of enacting such legislation. I don't think that anybody in central government is interested in ceding power to some nobody in the regions.
The councils already. Use the council leaders already. I mean, I know the districts aren't perfect, but you also have the point that, if you put this to the English in the midst of all the sovereignty debate, we lack something the Scottish, Welsh, and Northern Irish, and even the Londoners have. That we don't have this extra layer of representation, which has mitigated it. There is a reason the voting was so different, why people feel happier in the EU in these areas than we do in England.
Yes, but I'm not sure that was the reason, but it might be
not the reason,
a reason.
It gives you an outlet, like Scottish independence, while still Scottish nationalism still, brewing.
Yeah.
It's not as rabid as English nationalism at the moment because it had an outlet for it. It's a pressure release.
Okay, good point. Thanks a lot, Scott. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet @LBC. Text 84850.
I feel lightheaded. That's what I feel.
Yeah, I feel like I've got such a cloud of builder's dust in my face. If you added water, you could make concrete. I could repoint your brickwork. How does that sound? 0345 6060 973. Here's calling Monmouth. Mel.
Oh, hello, Nick.
Mel.
Project Fear became Project Reality for me last week.
Oh no! What happened?
Well, I went to buy my lipstick.
As you do.
My usual brand, as you do. Well, maybe you don't. I don't know if you wear makeup. But I was told, it's a major brand.
Yeah.
I was told I couldn't get that particular shade in that particular lipstick because of supply chain and manufacturing issues. And
oh no. Brexit?
Seriously, you think this is a joke, right? It's not a joke. It starts with lipstick, then where does it go? Mascara.
First they came for our lipstick, and then they came for our powder puffs. Mascara. Yeah.
And then, God help us, foundation. I'm thinking now I'm going to have to look at wearing a full face veil. Hijab.
Mel, do anything that you can to maintain your supplies, because you would look great.
No, it's all right. It's all right. It's fine.
You would let me finish. You would look stepping all over my material.
What I look like.
See, still, you would look great in a lot of makeup. See, it was worth it.
But the thing is, it's just like, is this the tip of the iceberg? It's all right. I mean,
so talk me through it. You went to get your favourite shade.
Usual shop.
Yeah.
Okay, and where I can always buy this particular. I can't say the brand.
Which brand is it?
I can't say it. I've been told not to say it.
Who told you not to say it?
The lady that told me not to say it on the phone.
Okay.
Can I say it?
No. If the lady said you can't say it, you can't say it.
Well, anyway, it's a very well-known
Well, what
brand.
colour is it?
It's a pale pink.
Pale pink. Was that
Sort of
wise?
like a well, for me it is.
Right.
Probably not for you. It might not suit you, but it suits me. And anyway, I'm quite particular about my makeup.
Hmm.
So, anyway.
Particular but incorrect, if you don't mind me saying so.
Well, you don't know if you don't know what I look like.
Oh, I can imagine.
Anyway, long story short, so incandescent with rage, I went on the internet and
a couple of shades darker than your pink lipstick. Your face was.
No, I went online and I bought the lipstick I wanted in the same shade, but I had to go foreign.
Oh no, not to Europe, I hope.
Indeed, I did.
To Europe? Oh God, Europe is taking our lipstick sales.
Oh no. Yeah, and then what? What I'm thinking, right? What's the next thing? It's going to be mascara, and then worst of all, it'll be foundation or blusher.
All of the
whatever.
essentials. Yeah.
And we'll all be all the women will be looking on.
Well, they'll be looking like they actually look. Won't they? I mean, did you ever wonder about that when you spend like 3 hours painting your face before you go outside?
No,
why do you women put yourself through all that?
Well, what I was thinking is that Mrs. M will be fine because she's popping over to Europe every 5 minutes.
Yeah.
So she's obviously cleaning up. She's like kind of like bulk buying.
Oh, she's got a bucket of makeup just backstage before she comes out and before she slips on her God, she's stepping all over me. Before she slips on her comedy clown shoes, she just presses her face into a bucket of makeup and scrapes it off with a trowel.
Yeah. So she can buy all that stuff when she's going over to Europe, which we're paying for. So it's not fair, is it?
I go back to my original question. Why do you women put yourself through all that? I mean, how much does lipstick cost?
Well, it was more expensive than usual.
How much?
Well, I spent 56 quid.
What?
I know.
That's way more than I thought you were going to say. I thought the absolute outside edge of it you were going to say 30. 50?
No, 56, yeah.
Oh,
that'll keep me going for probably a year. But that was my kind of like meltdown moment.
Now, wait a minute. Is lipstick actually is it bacterially repellent? I mean, because if you put it all over your lips, if you spread it all over your lips,
disgusting,
and then you just keep doing it for a year. I mean, can you imagine what's living on there?
No, because I will never share a lipstick with anyone.
Well, never mind about that. You've got all sorts of germs all over all over your mouth hole. You've got germs, Mel.
No, I don't. My lips, I know on my mouth spin. I don't want to make that sound dodgy. I know where it's spin.
And right, so this is you not making it sound dodgy, is it?
No, it's not dodgy. But all I'm saying, Nick, I mean, cut a long story short.
Yeah.
Clean water, food, medicines and everything. No one's thought about that side of it, have it?
Right, yeah, but who cares about any of that? We're talking about foundation here. Medicines.
Anyway, I just wanted to let you know there are other sides to Brexit.
Right.
Than just the other stuff.
Yes.
Everyone talks about the entire
right.
time.
Well, I'm glad that you brought this important issue up.
Yeah, flag it up.
Right. Well, in closing, Mel, can I just ask you this?
Mm-hmm.
Where has your mouth been? Don't answer that question. It's none of my business. Plus, I just don't want to know. There's that. Thanks a lot, Mel. Paul says, I find it quite ironic that in light of what's gone on this week, no deal being cancelled, Brexiteers have become the new Ramonas. The new Ramonas? I thought that was what they were doing all along. I thought it was just complaining.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
Is another way of putting it. Gary says, Bregstension. That'll be the new buzzword. No, it won't. It's worse than that. I hate this new buzzword. I dislike it a very great deal indeed.
I hate it!
I dislike it a very great deal. I don't even want to say it. Ian says just said that Ian says just said that England is London-centric, which is precisely why he and his ilk are ever so frightened of leaving the EU womb. Pathetic. Maybe I read it wrong because it doesn't seem to make any sense. Ian says just said that England is London-centric, which is precisely why he and his ilk are ever so frightened of leaving the EU womb. Pathetic. What does that mean? I'll ask my glamorous assistant. What does that mean? Exactly. I couldn't have said it better myself. You've distilled it for us. We're thinking, no idea. But you're obviously very, very angry. I'm feeling waves of ire pouring all over me. And Nick says, I'm chortling aloud again this evening. Thank you. My stockpile of Brexit provisions, consisting of 47 tins of imitation spam products. I'd be interested to learn what you and other listeners are hoarding. Imitation spam? What's that? Well, here's another question. What's spam? Does anybody have any idea? Well, the manufacturers obviously do. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbot, LBC.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Don't touch me, or I'll kill you.
Our glorious exit is being celebrated by a true blue British passport. Hurrah! Which we'll be able to put in a drawer and never use, because that would entail going somewhere foreign. So as they seek to find a way out of the Brexit chaos, Mrs M was having a full-on smackdown, intense talk with Beardy out of the Labour Party. And the upshot is that... Oh, by the way, I saw a cab today with the number plate tip me. I actually saw that with my own eyeballs. Tip me, it said. On his number plate. That must have cost more than the car. Anyway, Mrs M and Uncle Jezza have been having a chit-chat. And the upshot is that the discussions between Labour and the government appear to have stalled. Huh. Stalled, you say? Isn't that totally surprising?
No.
Labour accused Theresa May of failing to offer opposition real change or compromise after a third day of talks between senior frontbenchers and officials on both sides. I bet they were fascinating talks.
Boring!
For her part, Theresa May said that she hadn't changed a word of her agreement and had not compromised at all. What more could she do? With just days to go to find a consensus and get an agreed deal through the Commons, Labour voiced disappointment with the way that the chat had gone. They're not angry, they're just disappointed. And they're angry.
Correct.
Shadow Brexit Secretary Sir Keir Starmer said that the government was not countenancing any changes to the wording of the political declaration setting out the framework for the future UK-EU relationship. Not countenancing any changes. Well, you've got to hand it to her. Mrs M knows what she wants, and she wants her deal. And if at first and second and third you don't succeed getting it through, just keep doing the same thing over and over again. That'll work. So the Shadow Brexit Secretary, Sir Keir, said, we've had 2 rounds of talks today. No, we've had 2 rounds of talks, and today we've had an exchange of correspondence with the government. Correspondence. I think that's diplomatic speak for them screaming at each other. They said... and then they broke for lunch. He said, so far, the government isn't proposing any changes to the deal. That is disappointing. Compromise requires change. He says, we're not really getting anywhere. And you know what? Neither are we. We're not getting anywhere here. I don't think we're getting out of this. It's like one of them hoovering robots that gets stuck in a corner. Not that I own one, but I've seen them on TV. They get stuck in a corner because they can't go to the left and they can't go to the right, so they just stay there, hoovering the same spot until they've worn a hole in the carpet. And that's what we're like. We're stuck in a corner. I mean, and we're not getting out of it. I mean, by which I mean we're not getting out of the EU. We're not getting out of this mess that getting out of the EU has put us in. We're a parliamentary democracy, and the whole point of the vote was supposed to be to take back control. How's that going?
Dreadful.
We always had control, but let's not get bogged down in that. And as our representatives can't find a way out of this mess that the direct democracy has landed them in, then we're going to have to clear up our own mess, aren't we? It's got to come back to us. We made this mess, and we're going to have to clean it up. No whining. I want us to sit in the corner and think about what we've done. And we should take this with us. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Let's have a call in Hackney. Hello, Richard.
Hello, Nick. I read an additional piece to that press release about talks breaking down between Labour and the government, in which the government said that they had a plan which was to attempt to renew discussions.
Oh, well, that's good.
And that's the thing, because this just hasn't been discussed enough, I think. I mean, if only we'd all talked about it a little bit more.
Yeah, that's right.
One of your callers asked if there was an election and it had been shown to be fraudulent.
Yes.
And criminal charges had been brought.
Mm-hmm.
Would it be overturned? And someone's looked into this, and it was Carol Codwell. Yeah, of The Guardian.
Yeah, she does good work.
She does excellent work, and she's come up with the answer from the Electoral Commission.
Go on.
Okay, are you ready?
Yes, I am.
If they would overturn, based on what they've seen, they would overturn the referendum if it was a binding referendum. But as it's only advisory, it's not in their power to overturn it.
Wow, what a cop-out. It is a binding referendum. It was a binding referendum. The government said it was a binding referendum before we did so. And you know who said it was going to be a binding referendum?
I think this is nonsense.
Yes, you did.
But they didn't write that into the actual statute.
Oh, right.
They wrote it as an advisory referendum, which they would take as binding.
Yeah. Well, never mind about the Electoral Commission. How about the government? How about Theresa May should look into it? I mean, it seems to be a fairly serious thing that's gone on here. It looks like that this is not democracy. This is the stealing of democracy by persons unknown.
Well, it does make you wonder, because, we've just had the results of the Mueller inquiry.
Yeah.
You know, I mean,
well, we haven't actually. We haven't had the results.
No,
they've kept them secret so far.
No, that's true. We've had the Attorney General's.
Yeah, Donald Trump's personal Attorney General. Yeah.
He's summarised it for us. I think.
Well, apparently not. He said that it should be in no way read as a summary. The summary that he released, he has now said, should not be seen as a summary. Did you see that?
I didn't see that one, no.
The whole thing is starting to unravel. It's just, I thank goodness for Donald Trump, because otherwise we would be the laughingstock of the world.
Oh, shut up!
No, the Donald Trump's personal Attorney General has now released a statement saying, you know that summary that I released? Yeah, it wasn't a summary.
Right. I did love the bit where Donald Trump said that this proved I've been totally exonerated.
Yeah, totally exonerated.
Where the actual quote said, this does not
exonerate him, yeah.
But anyway.
So we're going to, on that subject, we will perhaps eventually get to see some of the redacted report, but they will take out all of the bits that make Donald Trump look bad. Now, the other thing that may happen with that is that the Democrats that may then subpoena Robert Mueller and ask him what's in his blooming report.
Well, there's two things that they've already subpoenaed the report, and Barr has said that he wants to redact it, and they've said no, we don't take redacted things. We're Congress. We are the Congress of America. We want the full thing.
And I think that in law, they can't disseminate misinformation that has something to do with the High Court or something.
They can't release it to the public,
right?
But they can see it, and that's what they're arguing about at the moment.
Right.
But at least they're arguing about it. At least they haven't.
Oh, Richard, your phone just went very, very funny there.
Is that better?
It is a little bit better. I don't know what you were trying to eat it, perhaps. Don't eat the phone while you're using it.
I've got one of those swivel chairs. I think I swiveled around a bit too far.
Okay. All right. Well, there's so much to look forward to, and I guess we're going to be experiencing it in the fullness of time.
Well, have you considered thinking about new sound effects for your station?
Well, like what?
Well, I've got a couple. Have you heard Donald Trump's impersonation of a wind machine?
Oh, well, he knows a lot about wind.
I know a lot about wind.
He's going up against, those wind turbines that provide energy.
Yeah.
And apparently the sound of them gives you cancer.
Well, I heard about that. Yeah. Did they go...
Bing, bong.
Oh, it's like a demented Avon lady. I think they go
whoop-dee-dee scoop poop.
Yeah, that gives you cancer. Did you see the video of him trying to say the word origins?
Oh my God, oranges!
That's really alarming. It is really alarming because he knew that he wasn't saying the right word. He said somebody should look into what he was trying to say was somebody should look into the origins of. I can't remember precisely what it was, but the origins of the Mueller investigation, or the origins of something or other. And he kept saying the word origins, except that he couldn't say the word origins, and he kept saying oranges. And you could see the look on his face thinking, that's not quite right, but I can't figure out why that's not right, so I'm going to just keep saying oranges.
And he just kept... See if it works next time.
He just kept saying the word oranges because his mind had frozen on that one point, which is kind of alarming. Maybe a trained psychologist would be able to call me up and tell me what that is an indication of. But I have an idea.
Is he crazy, or is that just the way he acts?
Maybe, yeah.
Well, if you don't know where your own father is born, then I think
that's right. He kept saying his dad was born in Germany. Yeah.
My current favourite soundbite, and I don't think you're using it. Do you remember No Country for Old Men?
Yes, No Country for Old Men.
No, exactly. You remember Javier Bardem's character, the
very
assassin?
Scary. Yeah.
When he found the guy in the service station, and he was just questioning him, and the guy was going to pieces, and Bardem was basically trying to work out whether to kill him, just because he was so frustrated with this idiot. And then he steps back and he goes, "You don't know what you're talking about, do you? Why do you not have that on a loop behind you?"
Because I wasn't really thinking when I was seeing that film of getting sound effects from it because I was too busy being petrified. All right, you're giving us a lot to think about. Cheers, Richard. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, Donald Trump may shortly be in big trouble, but it doesn't have anything to do with discussions with the Russians. I just don't think he's smart enough to have colluded with Russia. Russia may have helped him, and of course he doesn't want to admit that, because it would mean that he hadn't won the election all on his own. But it's the investigation that the New York State is engaging in for his crooked business practice.
I make $400 million a year, so what difference does it make?
Yeah, sure you do, Donnie. And his persistent illegal acts concerning his charity and his tax avoidance and all of the rest of it. They're just popping open his business files like it's Christmas. And, of course, he can't protect himself from state prosecutors. He can protect himself from federal prosecutors, like the national prosecutors. He can just pardon himself and any of the crooks that he surrounds himself with, because it does often look as though he has completely surrounded himself with mafia men.
Absolutely.
A little bit. But if New York State gets on his case, which they have, then he could be in big trouble, huge. Hey, Melania, your husband may be going to jail.
I don't care.
0345 6060 973. Let me remind you about my podcast. I think you'll find it a delight. If you've got half an hour and wish to be amused, then I think it will fit the bill perfectly. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. It is available on an internet near you. If you download Global Player, then you will find that for Apple users, then the podcasts are available on that excellent app. If you do Android, like what I do, then at the moment it is not available, but you can not buy it. You can get it for free wherever they give away podcasts. Ask for it by name, the Nick Abbot Habit.
LBC, Leading Britain's Conversation. LBC with Nick Abbot.
This guy is sick. There's something wrong with this guy.
Yeah, I've had a face full of builder's dust.
Stop whining.
What could that have been? I mean, it's powerful, and it's causing me an impediment.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
This just says, regarding stockpiling, I've just bought 15 bottles of wine. That's not stockpiling, that's supplies for the weekend. Jeremy in Aldershot says, have solved the problem, Nick. All Brexiteers moved north of Watford and we'll all stay south. And Lucas says, I can't hear the DUP leader speaking without your voice in my head saying, R anymore. Make it stop. Yeah, it's nothing to do with me, Lucas. Well, actually, it is completely my fault. I apologise for that whole RRR situation.
I am very sorry that I screwed up.
Mark says, if we leave with no deal, don't fret. We'll still have the ploughman's lunch, fish and chips, beans on toast, and Fuller's ESB. Plus many other fine real ales. Other fine real ales are available. And this says, old Jacob Breeze is constantly using the word snowflake, which is a derogatory term. I think he is a half-wit, really. Well, don't sit on the fence. Tell me what you think. Oh, talk about, I don't know, is this half-witted? In a reaction to the potential of the UK having to go through with a long extension to the Brexit process, Jacob Rees-Mogg called on his peers and his cohorts to be as difficult as possible and obstruct and veto any policies or schemes that they may come up with. He tweeted this. If a long extension leaves us stuck in the EU, we should be as difficult as possible. We could veto any increase in the budget, obstruct the putative EU army. Is this even close?
No.
I find him difficult to do. Because it's almost like he's being done by somebody else. Is he real life? He says we could veto any increase in the budget, obstruct the putative EU army, and block Mr. Macron's integrationist schemes. All of which would be a perfect example of the UK wielding power within the EU. Vetoing, obstructing, blocking. Which is something that Rees-Mogg and his band of Brexiteers have claimed that the UK can't do. Well, pick one. We either do have power or we don't. Which is it? That was comical. I mean, talk about shooting yourself in the foot. Looks like Dad's Army over there, ain't it? Let's have a call in Bagshot. Hello, Charles.
Hi, thanks for taking my call.
Whoever I am, yes.
Yes.
Hello there. Yes.
Sorry, mate. No, Nick, yeah. Before I make my main point, wouldn't it be absolutely hilarious if the French company that's making the new British passport screwed up and did them in light pastel baby blue?
Yeah, I'd like one of those.
That'd be hilarious.
Or misspelt United Kingdom.
Yeah. But my main point is, if we do have to do the European elections again, the anti-Brexit people, all they have to do, it's the cheapest election campaign ever, because all your material has been done by your opposition. All they have to do is just replay all the sound bites of Jacob Rees-Mogg, Boris Johnson, Nigel Farage, and the best one would, I just have this vision, if you can imagine this ad, where David Davis saying, you don't have to be very intelligent to do my job. And they're just in a black background, clearly not. I just see this as just such our own goal.
I think that we should. I would look forward to us fighting the EU elections, because I think that for the first time, it wouldn't be just a bunch of single-issue obsessives voting for our MEPs. People of all stripes would be out, and we would get fewer cranks.
Yeah. And I think it would send a powerful message. People say it's not worth it. I think it's a huge opportunity. If you really are angry about this and your voice wants to be heard, then participate, definitely. But it's such an easy campaign. You wouldn't have to spend any money, because the best campaigns, the best political campaigns, are the ones where your opposition has done all your work for you.
Yeah. Well, if people haven't got animated and interested over the past 3 years, then I give up hope.
I just think it'd be brilliant. But anyway,
I think that a few individuals who think that they're going to get an easy ride to sail back in there and cause some trouble, I think that they may be surprised at the result.
Oh yes,
mentioning no names.
Yes, I think, wouldn't that be hilarious?
It would, yeah, it'd make my day. All right, thanks a lot, Charles. I mean, some people might actually lose to a man in a manatee's costume, or the back end of a cow. James says, it's not, I hope you've made a will, Nick. It's, have you included us, your dear listeners, in the will? What? There's no money. I can include you in the in paying off my bills. If that's what you really want, then send me your names and I'll put you down. Alistair Campbell's... What? Not Alistair Campbell, surely? It's not
Yes.
What, the Alistair Campbell? A famous person?
Yes.
Has written to me?
Has tweeted to you?
Are you sure about that?
Yes.
Have you double-checked?
Blue tick.
He's got a blue tick?
Yeah.
Well, that's a bit rude. What does that mean?
It means Twitter says he is who he says he is.
Oh, that kind of
verified.
blue tick, right?
Yeah.
It says, huh? Well, I can't read that out. It's too complimentary. I'm embarrassed.
Well, I did it. I put it there. Do you want me to read it out?
No. But thanks. A famous person listens to this show. Can you believe that?
No.
0345 6060 973. But you know, that's very nice. But I'm still dying.
Stop whining.
James says it's not. I hope you've made a. Oh, no, I've read that. You see, this show is rubbish. What the hell is Alistair Campbell talking about? Robster says, I'm a recruiter and a volunteer counsellor. Brexit's hurting my clients. 3 years of chaos and economic uncertainty causing anxiety. I really think austerity maximised fear, which the ERG capitalised on. The UK is a group of nations divided, not worth it. No, what does not worth it mean? We're not worth it? What kind of talk is that? Or you mean leaving isn't worth it? Ray says, that woman's lipstick, 52 quid. I'm the same age as you. My first car cost £104 when I was 17. Something's gone wrong. Yes, it's like we've stepped through into the twilight zone. Something has gone wrong. I restate my case. I mean, I know I'm going to say something controversial. Why do you women spend hours and hours and hours and vast amounts of money, £52 on lipstick, for crying out loud, making yourself look like someone you're not? Men don't do that. Men walk out the house. Look at me. I'm a catastrophe. I've got my breakfast down my front and last week's sleep still in my eyes. And I don't mind telling you, I look fantastic. Maybe it's just the other way around. Maybe men should just make more of an effort. Or maybe we could just, like, meet each other in the middle. By the way, do these shoes make my legs look great? 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, you're almost certainly wasting your life. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC. It's 11:30. The news headlines with Zora Sullivan.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Hi, honey. How are you?
I'm feeling very, very ill. I've inhaled a faceful of dust from a builder's skip. But you know me, I never talk about my illnesses.
Stop whining.
Dan says, where is the vassal state? Can you go on holiday there? Who's their head of state? Brexit. There is a meeting of the 10th of April or... All right, I'll just read it as it's written. Brexit. There is a meeting on the 10th of April or summit. I am confident they will not sort it out then too. What is flextation? Is that a symptom of flatulence? Well, I don't know. Let's ask an expert.
I know a lot about wind.
Wind can give you cancer, and that's an actual fact. It says, are the Ramonas a new band? Oh, that's a good idea. The Ramona. Has anybody thought of that yet? Somebody should make a rock and roll band called the Ramonas. And whoever it is, you owe me a lot of money.
Rock and roll!
Whoever comes up with that idea secondhand. Are they doing any gigs yet, says Dan. I don't know. Just stop asking me questions, Dan. Do your own homework. Michael says, after we leave, do we have to go back to instant coffee? I'm not sure I could do that. Yeah, once we get out of the ew, there'll be no more grande mocha frappa crappuccinos for you. No more buckets of lightly flavoured cow juice. You have to go back to instant coffee, which tastes to me like burnt water. But at least it's got drugs in it. Robert says, both Trump and Rootin' Tootin' Shootin' Putin are in favour of Brexit. Doesn't that tell you all you need to know about this whole ridiculous episode in our history? Yes, it does. Did you see the report about the shenanigans? The Guardian uncovered some excellent material. So you probably didn't see it, because it was in the Guardian. I think there's more people work in the Guardian than actually read the Guardian.
Affirmative.
But they came up with they keep coming up with this stuff, and nobody seems remotely interested. A series of hugely influential Facebook advertising campaigns that appear to be separate grassroots movement for a no-deal Brexit are secretly overseen by employees of Sir Linton Crosby's lobbying firm and a former advisor to Boris Johnson, documents seen by The Guardian reveal. The mysterious groups, which have names such as Mainstream Network and Britain's Future, appear to be run independently by members of the public and give no hint that they are connected. But in reality, they share an administrator who works for Crosby's CTF partners and have spent as much as £1 million promoting sophisticated targeted adverts aimed at heaping pressure on individual MPs to vote for a hard Brexit. £1 million. Where did that come from then? Repeated questions have been raised about who is backing at least a dozen high-spending groups that have flooded MPs' inboxes with calls to reject Theresa May's deal. Until now, they are thought to be independent entities. This is what they call astroturfing, which is a cute twist on grassroots campaign. A grassroots campaign is when a lot of like-minded individuals get together and form a coherent whole. That's WHOLE. And where was I? Actually, where was I? Yes, grassroots. And so that's what a grassroots campaign is. I mean, you know that, don't you? Any fool know that. But astroturfing is when such a thing appears to be a grassroots campaign of lots of like-minded individuals, but actually isn't. It's one person who is making it look like they are a lot of people. Like a groundswell of support. But there ain't no groundswell of support. It's just one person with a ton of money. And we've got no idea who that is. I mean, is any of this alarming?
Yes.
According to the documents seen by The Guardian, almost all the major pro-Brexit Facebook grassroots advertising campaigns in the UK share the same page administrators. Their collective Facebook expenditure swamps the amount spent in the last 6 months by all of the UK's major political parties and the UK government combined. Holy smoke! They paid thousands. They paid four thousands of different targeted Facebook ads encouraging members of the public to write to their local MPs and call for the toughest possible exit from the EU. They want it hard. And this is in order to create the impression of organic public opposition to Theresa May's deal, where there really isn't any. If I went into the street with a clipboard and a fiver, I bet there's not one single person that I would meet in a 24-hour period that would have any idea what Theresa May's deal actually consists of. Oh, but I don't like it. What don't you like about it? Everything. You know, that kind of thing. What precisely can you tell me about it that I don't like it? Mainstream Network. This is one of these mysterious groups. Mainstream Network attracted attention last year when it was exposed for spending at least £250,000 to reach more than 10 million voters with adverts urging voters to email their local MP and urging them to chuck checkers, alongside articles criticising George Soros' involvement in the Remain campaign. You know George Soros, don't you? No! Yeah, that's him. He's the evil person that wants to increase democracy. Boo, George Soros. And after the closure of Mainstream Network, after it attracted attention, it was abruptly shut down. And after it was shut down, similar adverts began appearing on a Facebook page named Britain's Future, whose public frontman is a former 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps screenwriter, or scriptwriter rather, named 2 pints of lager and a packet of crisps was a song. Is it something else that I'm unfamiliar with? It's not a British comedy, is it?
Oh, no.
Ugh, I bet it's unfunny. Anyway, he's a scriptwriter of 2 packets of crisps, or like whatever that is. Tim Dawson later became a Conservative council candidate. The group hit the headlines last month, says The Guardian, when it was revealed that it was the biggest single UK political advertiser on Facebook, spending £422,000 on adverts for a hard Brexit, despite never declaring its financial backers. Who are these people? It remains unclear who is ultimately picking up the substantial bill for this attempt to persuade MPs that there is a grassroots uprising for a hard Brexit. Is anybody alarmed?
No.
Apparently not. Everything's fine. This is democracy in action. It looks to me like it's the stealing of democracy. I mean, if there's an organisation who a person's unknown, spending vast amounts of money, millions of pounds, as was the case during the run-up to the referendum itself. I mean, I've been saying this over and over and over again. Is anybody listening?
Negative.
Millions, if not billions, of highly targeted adverts using vast computer power.
Affirmative.
Were sent to millions of people all over the country. This is the same thing that got to Donald Trump into the White House. The screaming Mimi is in the wine house because of this exact thing.
I'm a whiner and I keep whining and whining.
Yeah. I mean, is there any other reason why he should be the president of the United States of America?
I can be more presidential than anybody.
Apart from that. Somebody should look into the oranges of this. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850, email nick@lbc.co.uk, and if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Let me remind you about my Super Soaraway podcast. If you've got half an hour and you wish to be amused, then I think you'll find it's right up your alley. You can take it off the internet and squirt it up your device. I knew it was coming, and it still made me laugh. I apologise for that whole laughing at my own stuff thing.
I am very sorry that I screwed up.
Yes, it's called the Nick Abbot Habit, and it's got James. This current episode has got James Bond in it. We had a lot of discussions about James Bond. I've made my feelings on the issue very, very clear, but people still are calling up to correct me. It's incredible. I mean, is this thing on? Hello? So we were talking about that, but we were also there's a lot of marching going on, and there was a really nice lady who came to London for a day out and got into a fight with a security guard at the National Portrait Gallery. So there's plenty of amusements in it, and you will find it on an internet near you. It's called the Nick Abbot Habit. People who do Apple, I can only dream of having an Apple device. But people who are, the tip-toppermost people, they can avail themselves of our global player, and you'll find the podcasts on that. We're still trying to fashion a way for the lower orders on Android for them to be able to do it too. But if you cannot get it on a global player yet, then it is available wherever they give away podcasts. Ask for it by name, the Nick Abbot Habit.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott. Call 0345 6060 973. Tweet at LBC. Text 84850.
Here are the studio calls flashing up on the indicator.
Yes, this call is in Stockton-on-Tees. Brian.
Yeah, good evening, Nick.
Yeah, good evening, Brian.
Does it need a general election now, Nick?
Right, we're not on speakerphone, are we?
Hang on.
Oh, my God. Oh, no. No,
we're not, no.
Okay.
I mean, this madness now, it's just going on and on, isn't
on
it?
and on and on.
Don't you think, Nick, maybe the fairest way now, put it back to the people, general election, let them decide if they want to go for a party who wants to leave or a party who wants to remain, and get a majority.
Well, there aren't two parties like that.
Well, there is.
Well, which?
Can I tell you why? Well, the Conservatives, they were in power. They said they were going to deliver Brexit. And if they even go for a customs union, single market, they're not really delivering Brexit.
No, that's incorrect. That's incorrect, Brian. You're assuming that everybody had a single idea in mind when they put a cross next to "we want out," but that's not true. It's not true then or now. People did not think, "Oh, I want. We don't want the single market." For the very good reason that they'd never heard of the single market and had no idea what it was.
Can I say this to that?
Please do.
You're half in, half out with customs union single market. You still have to take. No, you can't do your own trade deals. So it's half in, half out. It's more in than out, actually.
Okay.
But so you got the Labour, and the Labour are saying they want a soft Brexit. They want to either remain Labour or stay in the customs union single market, which is soft Brexit.
Yeah, I don't think you can say that about all of the Labour Party. They're as split as the Tory Party.
Yeah, but that is the main thing. Going by Corbyn, either customs union, single market, and then his momentum part of his party want to just remain. So they've got to be.
Yeah, well, okay. The problem with your little scheme, Brian, is that people don't go to a general election and vote specifically on one issue. They vote. People vote Labour because they've always voted Labour, because their granddad was down to it, and they've their family has always voted Labour, and they wouldn't vote Conservative if you put a gun to their head. And others vote Labour because they run the local council and they make the flower display nice in the centre of town.
But all that will be mixed in with the Brexit. We know we'll have all that in a general election, which is correct. But we're not going to. We're at a stage now where you're not going to get anything passed, are you?
Well, I think that rather than go for a general election, which the Conservative Party is not going to call...
You're not going to say referendum.
The Conservative Party is not going to call a general election because they know they'll lose. Well, they fear that they're going to lose. In much the same way as the chief Brexiteers don't want to call a second referendum because they know they'll lose that.
We should have a second referendum.
You've got that wrong way around, Nick.
Oh, no. I haven't made another mistake, have I? God, I keep doing it. What an idiot I am.
I think if the Conservatives go down the path they are, they will lose a general election.
Yeah, I suspect so. The latest polling says that Uncle Jezza will have the keys to number 10, and there's nothing that Yuri Spoonbender can do about it.
That's if they go for customs union, single market, the Conservatives, they will lose the next election. The only chance they have of winning it is scraping up loads of Midlands and Northern voters in constituencies that voted Leave. You have a chance of picking them close ones up.
Yeah, but the implication of your assertions are that the Conservative Party is as with one mind about the issue of Brexit, but they're not.
I was going to come to that, Nick. I was going to come to that.
Oh, right. Well, I'm ahead of myself.
May has to go for a general election. Theresa May has to go.
Poor Mrs. M.
Right? So you bring a new Prime Minister in, and then, obviously, he changes the cabinet.
Yeah. He sexist?
Well, I think it could be a woman, but I think it'll be a bloke this time.
Right.
Right? They change the cabinet. You've also lost the 8 Tiggers, haven't you? They will not get voted for in a general election.
Well, who would you suggest, who would have the keys to number 10, then, in your little scenario?
Dominic Raab.
Oh, okay.
Raab.
Dominic
Raab.
Raab.
What would you put in then?
I think that the cat should take over. The number 10 Downing Street cat should take over. Couldn't possibly do a worse job.
No, but all we're saying is we can't get past this impasse now. And I think the fairest way, put it to the people.
No, that's not the fairest way. It's not a way to breach the impasse. It's because it brings in too many other issues.
What are you saying? A fair way referendum?
We should have a second referendum.
Yeah.
Is that what you were saying, Nick?
Exactly.
You were saying a referendum.
Listen, we caused this mess. We, the people, caused this mess. We're going to have to wipe it up ourselves.
Answer me, Nick. Do you want a second referendum?
Do I want a second referendum?
Answer me.
Nigel Farage can speak for me.
No,
we should have a second referendum.
Yes.
What do you want, Nick? What do you want?
I want a second referendum.
You do? You're saying that now?
I just said it.
Well, that will cause more problems in this country for years and years to come.
Why? This is the Project Fear, that the people who shout Project Fear all the time are actually giving us Project Fear. Because, I think, reading between the lines of what you just said, Brian, what you're implying is, and you are not the first person to say this, even though you didn't say it. But
I'm not talking about fighting or anything, but it will cause this to just drag on and people arguing about it. I think if there is a second referendum, Nick, what will happen is Conservatives and Labour will leave a void for another party to move in. They will regret it if they do it.
Well, maybe it'd be the Green Party.
Yowza.
Do you think about that?
So for me, they've got to go for a general election because in time, if we do stay in, have a referendum. When it comes to the next general election, there will be Conservatives and Labour will regret it.
Well, but which party? Everybody is assuming that the hole that is broached by, or the hole that is the. Okay, back up, start again, and calm. Everybody is saying, not everybody, but a lot of people who are actual Project Fear mongers are saying, well, if we don't get our way, first of all, they say, if we don't get our way, then we're going to kill everybody, or words to that effect. There's going to be rioting in the streets, and we won't be able to do anything about it. That's Project Fear, that is. If I don't get my way, then everyone's going to die. We'll start acting like the French and pick up paving stones and chuck them at gendarmes. I don't believe that that's who we are, but perhaps. Everyone's got a little bit of French in them somewhere.
Disgusting.
And the other side is that, of course, this will open up a huge chasm into which another party will insert themselves, and everybody is thinking that this other party might be the nasty Nazis. But maybe it'll be the greenies.
Groovy.
Huh? You ever think of that? Maybe they'll be putting flowers in their hair. I don't know. The future may be Paisley. Think about it, Brian. Relax. It'll probably never happen, if that's any comfort. 0345 6060 973. Now, I think you'd have to be off your head to want a second referendum.
We should have a second referendum.
I mean, who really would say out loud that we should have a second referendum?
We should have a second referendum.
Couldn't take him seriously. Steph says, does us leaving the EU mean that we could get booted out of the Eurovision Song Contest, and would that count as a blessing?
Yes.
Yeah, it would. Particularly as it's got nothing to do with Europe anymore. I mean, is Israel in Europe?
Negative.
Is Australia? Australia. You'd have to leave the planet to get further away from Europe than Australia. Australia is not in the European Union. I think you'll find that is correct. Anna says, not all women wear makeup or visit hairdressers. I don't, and I'm happy with my freshly dragged through a hedge look. Your bleating about this is keeping me awake, and I need my beauty sleep, says Anna. Plus you're making me laugh, which is giving me wrinkles. Finally, that heady mist of dust that you inhale probably contains Victorian horsehair plaster chock full of anthrax. And this is supposed to be making me feel better. I've inhaled builder's dust before. I've worked cleaning out buildings and carrying bags full of assorted rubble and bits of wood with nails in, which I sliced my neck open on trying to carry out stuff from buildings, old, and I've done all that sort of humping work. Not that kind of humping. So I've inhaled my fair share of builder's dust. But nothing like this. It was serious poison, and I can feel it. I've been actually quite concerned, to the point that I thought maybe I should go and tell the people that somebody's dumped some poison in one of their skips, because it doesn't seem to me like it's like something that you could ordinarily leave in a recycling centre. This seems to me like something that you should have a hazmat suit on to handle. I'm dying over here.
Stop whining.
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. Mohammed says, at least the Prime Minister has a successful shampoo business to get on with. Theresa May. A listener with material.
Oh, no.
Theresa May. Oh, that is painful. I thought I was in pain before I read that. Now I'm really in agony.
Whinging and whining and moaning.
This is LBC from Global, leading Britain's conversation with Nick Abbot.
Listen to him. He knows everything.
Alistair Campbell says, respect for not reading out my gushing tweets, but can you give out a shout for Ryan the driver? He hates Brexit and he loves me. Hey, Ryan, keep your mind on your driving, keep your hands on the wheel, and keep your snoopy eyes on the road ahead. Al's having fun sitting in the backseat, kissing and hugging with Fred. You heard it here first.
Disgusting.
0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's @LBC. So what's his name is now maybe thrown his hat into the ring. I've forgotten what his name is. What's the name of that fellow that was just talking there? The American, used to be Joe Biden. Joe Biden is now perhaps chucked his hat into the ring. And just keep your hands to yourself, Joe. And while you're doing it, smell my hair.
I cherish women.
0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Minehead. Has been waiting the longest. Hello, Malcolm.
Hi, hello. Thanks for taking the call.
Thanks for making your call.
What I would like to know is...
Oh, God, more questions.
Is the referendum a contract?
Is it a contract? With the people?
With the government.
With the government?
Because if it's a contract, we said no to the referendum. Is there recourse through courts, or is the government or the parliament so sovereign that it can do exactly what it wants when it wants?
Well, I assume that you're a leaver. I assume.
Pardon?
Yeah. You are a leaver. I assume.
Yes.
Right. Wasn't the whole plan about giving back sovereignty to Parliament?
Well, that's what I thought the idea was, yes.
Right, but you seem to be complaining about that.
No, I'm not complaining about it. I'm complaining about it if they don't do what the referendum says.
Yes, but that's not parliamentary democracy, that's direct democracy. I thought the idea was to give Parliament overall control, to bring back sovereignty.
Yes, but Parliament asked for the referendum.
Yes. Which was advisory, and then Parliament has to decide the best way forward for the country.
In other words, they gave the referendum, and they weren't they're not interested in whether or not the answer was.
No, we should be interested in what the answer was, and then our elected representatives decide on what's best for the country. That's a parliamentary democracy. That's giving Parliament sovereignty. I swear, you leavers are weird. You want, demanding the sovereignty of Parliament, and then you don't want it. Which is it? Pick one, Malcolm.
Yes, but surely Parliament should do what it asks
precisely what the people say. No, that's not. That's a direct democracy. We don't want that. Don't ask the people what they think, because the danger is that they will tell you. No, we don't want that. That's the reason that we've got MPs. What's the point of having all these highly paid experts when we dopes make the decisions for them?
So if when it comes to the next ballot box,
yes,
nobody votes for Conservative, nobody votes for Labour, that would be their fault.
Yes. But that's never going to happen. Because who else are you going to vote for?
Well,
the Liberal Democrats?
well,
I voted for the Lib Dems. You kick them out.
Yeah, kick them out.
And replace them with?
One of them.
Replace them with?
Because I believe that's what I hear people around me talking about.
Well, that's because you choose the people around you based on their agreeing with you. People don't surround themselves with people who don't agree with them.
I've got a lot of people who disagree with me.
Well, I can imagine. It sounds like you're a very disagreeable person.
Who wanted to stay in the European Parliament.
Yes.
But they don't agree with the government not carrying through what the referendum says.
Right. Well, the answer to that is we should never have been asked the question in the first place. This is a parliamentary democracy.
Yes, I agree with you there.
Oh, my God, I got something right. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
It took just slightly over 2 hours for me to get something right. I am stunned.
But I believe that when they asked the question on the referendum, that they didn't think the answer was going to be what they got.
No, that's absolutely true. Yeah, a stupid man asked a stupid question and got a stupid answer. Who could have thunk it?
Anyway, thanks very much.
OK, cheers, Malcolm. 0345 6060 973. Lucas says, how can you not know what a blue tick is? You have one yourself. Is your brain health that bad? Yeah, my brain is covered in builder's dust at the moment.
Stop whining.
It's very, very bad. I would like to know what it was, but maybe I don't want to know what it was. I mean, if I recover, that's okay. But it's taken a week now, and it's still really bad. What the hell could it be? Warren says, out may mean out, leave may mean leave, and Brexit may mean Brexit, but I grew up in the 1970s, and beans means Heinz. God, If only I'd known that was the joke at the end of it, I wouldn't have started out on that route. All of that wasted effort. Rob says, but I do appreciate the, you taking the time out to write. Rob says most of the Leave voters in Raleigh, Wickford, Hadley, when presented with a globe, couldn't put a pin in Europe. Says Rob in Hadley, a Ramonerist. And Carrie says, has it occurred to you that you may have inhaled used cat litter? The dry bits could easily look like cement dust as they puff in the air, having been crushed by a brick. No, this was in a recycling centre, and they have individual skips for individual things, and the skip that I chucked my bricks in was for builder's rubble. General rubble. And I got a face full of some dust. I don't know what it was, but it was very poisonous. Jeremy says, your builder's dust, can you taste it in the back of your throat, and does a nasty bitter taste come and go? I picked that up on a building site I was working on when I was a student. It's cement dust, and you'll be able to taste that for about a month. Oh, that's great. A month?
Oh, fabulous.
And Daniel in Belgravia says, wasn't Julian Assange supposed to be evicted today? Media frenzy outside the embassy. I don't know why he just didn't slip out. I mean, why didn't he just slip out? I mean, there hasn't been a police presence outside the embassy in a good long while. I mean, can you imagine what it smells like in there? Ugh. I bet it's a little bit musty.
Disgusting.
A little bit musty. 0345 6060 973. Let's have a call in Orpington. Hello, Lawrence.
Oh, hello. Yeah, good. I know I've get fed up with these people going on about 17.4 million. That's going to be a number I'm going to delete from when I'm counting. I'll get up to 17.3,
exactly.
17.5. Yeah, and going on about the country voted. First of all, the whole country didn't vote for it, but they weren't voting for anything. This is the big mistake. People say, oh, they voted for this, they weren't. Half the people who voted were voting against George Osborne and David Cameron. And
with good reason.
Or the other lot. I mean, they're just voting against that. They didn't think they were going to win.
Anything that George Osborne or David Cameron had a hand with is not okay in my books. No! Exactly.
Yeah, exactly, yeah. And they, just to prove the facts, a year later, whenever it was, in 2017, there was the general election, and they again voted against the Tory party. Didn't vote quite enough against them, and now, as you can see, House of Commons, House of Lords, the whole lot of them, they just spend their time voting. Oh, don't like that. No, I don't want that. Oh,
yeah.
Don't want that. Oh, blimey.
I don't like this and I don't like that, and moan.
Stop whining. It took us something like 11 years to con our way into the common market, and we got in there finally, said, all right, you can join, and we looked around and goes, oh, no, don't like that, oh, we want an exception here, all right, you can have your exceptions, you can have your vetoes or whatever.
I bet there's a significant number of people in Europe who just can't wait to get rid of us, because we're like a problem child, just constantly whining and throwing our toys out of the pram at every given opportunity.
Yeah, all those Leaver-type people think that they want us. No, they don't want us. They're going, oh, blimey, what else? Okay, look, we'll do you a favour, just F off now.
Well, okay, let's not get carried away.
No,
all right. Well, okay, I got to go. Thanks a lot, Lawrence. 0345 6060 973. Yeah, if we weren't so entwined with their business and their doings, then I bet they would just love to boot us out with great vengeance. But, it's going to cause a lot of people a lot of heartache in the short term. A lot of people who've got businesses, who run things. These are all technical terms, which I'll explain to you later. Business and things. And they import and they export, and it comes back and forth and in and out and to and fro. And if it wasn't for that, I bet they would. I mean, if we'd arrived and there had been no entwinement, if we weren't all, hugger-mugger, then I bet they just couldn't wait to get rid of us. Moaning and whining and complaining. Daniel in... Oh, no, I read that. Deepak says, why aren't we blaming the Conservatives more for putting us in this Brexit mess in the first place? Yes, it was the Conservatives, specifically one person.
I think this is nonsense.
Yeah, we're talking about you, Dave. We're still not missing you, by the way. But we know where we'll find you. In the shed with the tools. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nica@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
This is LBC with Nick Abbott.
Everything is going extremely well.
You bet your life it is. Zach says there's more chance of Julian Assange leaving the Ecuadorian embassy than Britain leaving the EU. Keith says, as I've often said to you, the real value in exiting the corporate EU is escaping Article 102. No more restrictions of state aid and consequent public ownership. Well, if you've said that to me before, then I most certainly wasn't listening. But thank you for reiterating it, whatever that means. Chris says, at this point, for the sake of compromise, I would support a second referendum with Remain on the ballot, but only if it was a choice between Remain versus No Deal. If this clear choice was not offered, then I would not support or even vote in such a referendum, says Chris. That's his red line. He's putting his foot down. Does anybody care?
No.
Ag says, I am very upset. Last week you said you were going to talk about Easter chocolate eggs, and I was waiting and almost fell asleep. Can you explain that, please? Well, I put it on the podcast. When I don't get time to talk about stuff on this show, then I'll do my best to, particularly if I've sort of trailed it ahead of time. I mean, what happens on this program is completely out of my hands. Does it sound like I'm in control?
Negative.
So I put it in the podcast, and it's in the most recent podcast, the one that's called. It's called. Is it something about Nazis? No. It's called what? Do you know what it's called?
Just fine. I'm literally. I've got the little wheel.
Looking it up as we speak.
Oh, was this on the James Bond elimination game?
Yeah, the James Bond elimination game. That's exactly right. Yeah, this week's episode is called the James Bond elimination game. So there's a lot of talk about James Bond about who should be taking over the role once What's It says he doesn't want to do it anymore. He'd rather cut his wrists rather than earn another £100 million from pretending to be a hero. You imagine that? No, I don't want that anymore. Who would? God. So anyway, when he doesn't want to do it anymore, when he's just got so much money he doesn't know what to do with it, then somebody else is going to have to take over. And we've been discussing this very important issue for quite a while now, and I've made my feelings very clear on the subject, but people will continue to call in and correct me. And so there was that on the podcast, and also a very important chocolate egg news. It's going to be Easter soon, and we celebrate by eating chocolate eggs, because that makes as much sense as anything else we've heard lately. Why do we eat chocolate eggs at Easter? What's that got to do with Jesus? Get the Archbishop of Canterbury on the phone. Chris says, no, I've said that, and that. Jimmy says, American patriots would gladly trade tiny hand trumps for Your Majesty the Queen. American patriots would gladly trade tiny hands trumps for Your Majesty the Queen. Does that make sense?
No.
No. But it fits right in. Nottingham. Hello, Adam.
Oh, hi, Nick. Good to speak to you.
Adam.
Thanks for taking my call. Yeah, it's just a little bit of a thing. You've been discussing the Jacob Rees-Mogg, and it sort of brought something about a year ago. There was a article on the BBC website which basically looked at there was basically a writ issued, or a cease and desist letter to Jacob Rees-Mogg from the Beano comic, claiming that he modelled himself on Walter the Softy. Now,
it's a good long time since I've read the Beano, but I do have a fairly vivid mental image of what that cartoon character might look like.
Yeah, so can you sort of imagine? Could you really sort of imagine? Walter the Softy leading a sort of almost like extreme sort of extreme Brexit, sort of almost like a half-right type person. It's quite bizarre, really.
But everything that's going on is really bizarre. We appear to have gifted control over this country to whoever shouts the loudest, and chief among them is a man who always speaks in a supercilious whisper.
Absolutely. And as he was saying, I'm a fairly weedy fellow. I just can't compete with the macho behaviour of Walter. So, it's quite even bizarre. We have a guy who's trying to act hard, but he's actually saying he's a little bit more weaker than Walter the Softy. It's really bizarre.
Okay, well, thanks for drawing it out for us. Cheers, Alan. 0345 6060 973. He's illustrated that whole issue. Yeah, what Jacob Rees-Mogg said, he tweeted this week, it was really quite just jaw-dropping, really. Okay, here's the story in full. Does anybody want me to read the story in full?
No.
The Prime Minister sent a letter to the EU Chief Donald Tusk to formally request an extension to Article 50 that's going to delay the UK's departure beyond April the 12th to June the 30th. And then beyond that, probably. Donald Tusk said today that a 12-month, and here comes that word, flextension.
Oh, no.
That is even worse than Brexit. Flextension. I've only heard that word maybe a dozen times so far, and already that's 12 times too many. I dislike it a very great deal indeed.
I hate it!
Flextension. Ugh. Donald Tusk said that a 12-month flextension to March the 31st, 2020 is the only reasonable way out of the crisis and will urge leaders of the EU's 27 member states to back him. Mrs May wants a termination clause, allowing the UK to leave on May the 22nd, the day before the European elections, if a deal can be pushed through the UK Parliament. She wants a termination clause.
Correct.
Emmanuel Macron is leading European efforts to stop Britain from getting any new deal to Brexit without a clear and credible plan for leaving, saying that we should otherwise be left to quit in a disorderly manner. Paris attacked Theresa May's plea. She's got a whole city attacking her. And a French diplomatic source said that Mr Tusk's idea for a flextension to March next year was a clumsy trial balloon ahead of an emergency summit next Wednesday. Well, I kind of like the sound of that. A clumsy trial balloon. Sounds like a party. Will there be jelly and custard?
No.
How about party hats?
Negative.
Dutch Premier Mark Rutte said May's letter seeking the extension raises more questions and there will have to be intense discussions ahead of the crucial summit of European leaders next Wednesday that will decide on the issue. And just one of them could say no, and that'd be it. Game over. And the plan was that the British would explain what they wanted from the EU. We've got no idea. Make us an offer. Oh, you did that already. Rutte said the letter had no full plan. That's Theresa May's letter. But there was only not a full plan. It was a part of a plan. A little bit. It's like a slice. He said, we hope London will provide more clarity before Wednesday. He doesn't know us very well, does he? And the German foreign minister stuck her oar in. Heike Maas said that many questions remained about Mrs May's plan. She said, we would like to ask you some questions. Meanwhile, over here, Brexiteer Owen Paterson tweeted that Tories could go nuclear and push again for no deal, while the ERG chairman, Jacob Rees-Mogg, said today, if along... This is the comical part. I mentioned this some while ago. He tweeted, or he had his person tweet, if a long extension leaves us stuck in the EU, we should be as difficult as possible. As in... we could veto any increase in the budget, obstruct the putative EU army and block Monsieur Macron's integrationist schemes, which is the funniest thing he's said in ages. I wonder if he deliberately comes over as a school, like somebody who should be wearing shorts in school and having their ear flicked. We should veto any increase in the budget, obstruct the putative EU army, and block Monsieur Macron's integrationist schemes. We should be as difficult as possible. Oh, blimey. Somebody get Nanny. I think someone needs his legs slapped. Besides, that's just flat out admitting that everything he's ever said about us being this helpless state, being bossed around by an evil, unelected overlord, is rubbish. As we wouldn't be able to be difficult, or to veto, or obstruct, or block anything if that were true, that we were helpless. Everything that Jacob Rees-Mogg has ever said about the UK being unable to chart our own path while being in the EU is rubbish, so says Jacob Rees-Mogg. You get an F. See me after class. And it can only get more funny if you-know-who hoved into view. And in other news, he did.
Oh, no.
After Jacob Rees-Mogg shot himself in the foot, another of the Dad's Army lineup hoved in. Tory Brexiteer Marc Francois said that Theresa May's letter to Donald Tusk was a mistake. Big mistake, huge. He said, I was in the army and I wasn't trained to make mistakes. And he wheeled to the right as his platoon quick marched to the left. Oh, do you think you are kidding, Monsieur Tusk? What a shower, eh?
Dreadful.
Is this any way to run a country?
No.
Alan says, I reckon the Russians and the Chinese are sitting back and smiling at the criticisms they get for not being democracies. A British government in chaos and Americans trying to bring down their president. Yeah, sitting back and smiling. I bet they're guffawing. In Russian and Chinese. Plus, it's probably the Russians what put us into this mess in the first place. Oh no, it's nothing to do with me. I love democracy. Jessica says, I'm a firm Remainer. Well, what does that mean? Maybe I read that too. There's my mind getting carried away. But it's got nothing to do with that. She's a firm Remainer. That's all. Don't question it. She says, but I'm starting to think that this country is so messed up now that a no deal is the only way to lance this boil. In 20 years' time, our kids can go crawling back to the EU and beg to rejoin. Time out on the naughty step to realise the error of our ways. Well, how about we leave and then have another referendum to see whether we want to go back in again? Hands up, who wants one? Anybody want a second referendum? Anybody at all?
We should have a second referendum.
Not you. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nicka@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10, Nick Abbott, LBC. Oh, look, it's 12:30. The news headlines with Zora Solomon.
British. Hello, boys.
Paul says a lot of Brexiteers seem to be giving in to a referendum as long as it's Remain versus No Deal. I think that's fair, to be honest, he says. However, there is a problem. I really don't think any government would dare to implement No Deal if it won. I'm sure they are privy to information on the impact of No Deal that haven't been released. Well, we know that they are. The various men in the great... and women, too, sexist. Various boring women and men in grey suits came up with a little pamphlet that they released concerning what may be our fate in the event of a no deal. I'll sum it up for you. That's what they said. It's pretty much what they said. Still, I'm sure that's Project Fear. Because after all, nothing bad has happened so far, apart from all of the bad things that have happened. Steve says, there is a girl tribute band called the Ramonas. And they're really? I like that. And they're brilliant, he says. I'll let you work out who they are a tribute to. I saw the Ramones in Amsterdam a long time ago. They were hilarious. I mean, they looked like... They were like cartoons. I've never seen a band like them. I mean, they was just extraordinary. I mean, all their songs are about a minute and a half, 2 minutes tops. And they didn't leave any gaps in between their songs at all, other than to shout 1, 2, 3, 4. But that was it. It was breathless all the way through. And all of their songs kind of sound a little bit alike. Let's, let's admit it. But it was a full-on assault. But it was just so funny, because they all kind of look cartoonish. And they would finish a song, and then Joey, or one of them, would shout, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then on the first note, all of them would sink down as though they'd just had weights dropped on them. And that went on for about 2 hours. They were hilarious. I love that band. Chris says, if this country had any pride or self-respect, it would not keep kowtowing to the EU, but would stand tall and leave next Friday on WTO. 3 exclamation marks, like he's shouting at me. But you've got no idea what that would involve, do you, Chris? But we just want Brexit. Let's have a call in High Wycombe. Owen.
No, it would never have happened. She would have dealt with it with slight hands. No trouble at all.
Who are you talking about?
Queen Margaret, the most famous lady in the world.
Margaret Thatcher.
No!
Yes. To lose that. Never mind. I had to lose him because he forgot that he was on the radio. I'm not entirely sure he knows where he is. Maybe he's had a libation. It's possible. Maybe it's just always like that. That's also possible. But anyway, he banged on about Margaret Thatcher and she wouldn't take this and blah, blah, blah. Well, she wouldn't have gone to the public and asked them what they thought anyway. I mean, she wasn't that stupid. Ain't that right, Dave? Chris says, if this country had any... Oh, no, I read that. Nick, one of the words you may be looking for is the Brexit lexicon, which has developed widely over the past years. I know these words annoy you, which is why I will not tell you that I have shortened it to Brexicon. It sums it up. Yeah, just the flextension, that's just awful. I hate that. We've got to draw a red line around that and set fire to it. Flextension. Terrible. This says, talking about annoying words, people need to stop using the word guesstimation. Stop it right now. I mean it. And Paul says, I could never hate somebody as much as you hate Donald Trump. When did it all start? Well, when he descended his gold elevator to tell us all that he was going to be the next president of the United States of America.
I can be more presidential than anybody.
I mean, every single little thing he does is awful. And he just seems to be getting worse. I mean, his mind seems to be just falling away. If you want to be alarmed, look up that video of him. This just happened. He was saying that we should really look into the origins of, oh, God, I don't know. The people who told him that he didn't have the biggest crowd at his inauguration. He's still going on about that. The man's absolutely demented. But he was trying to use the word origins, but he couldn't. And he kept repeating the word oranges instead. Somebody should really look into the oranges of it. And you could tell by the look on his face that he knew that something was wrong, but he didn't know what it was. I think he's going...
Whoop-dee-dee scoop poop.
Little bit. He's a bit...
Bing bong.
In the head. Seriously, I mean, at the next election, the American people have to say...
Bye-bye.
Yeah. It's been entertaining and a little bit scary. In well, not quite equal measure, but let's leave while you're on a down. And before you do anything really stupid...
I'll bring us into war.
Like that. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Weybridge. Rose.
Hello.
Rose.
Hello.
Yes, Rose.
Hello.
Rose.
Well, I'll tell you first of all, I am 94.
94 years old.
And
you made it.
And somewhat deaf. So what I want to say is these, oh dear, I don't want to use the language I should use or feel like using, but these Brexiteers don't look any further than their own silly noses. They don't think of the people who are now having great difficulty to get staff to run their businesses. They're not going to get people to pick their beautiful strawberries in the summer. They're not going to get people to help the builders who desperately want help. All those sort of people who desperately need the people who come from other countries to help them. Germany has been our friend for 40 years. They got us into 2 great wars, but they have been our friends for 40 years. And these Brexiters do not think how it is being so badly affected by what is going to happen. I cried when the result came through because I thought my grandchildren, they are the ones who are going to suffer. We are going to be standing alone. People said, oh, we stood alone during the war. We did not. We may have stayed alone for 2 months, but then we had our wonderful people coming from Australia, India, Canada, all sorts of places to help us, and that's helped us to win that war. I feel so desperate about it that this poor old country of mine that I have loved and have brought my own children up in, and they feel exactly the same as I do, that it's going to go to the dogs. We're going to be a third world country, and that's how I feel about things. And these Brexiters really don't seem to worry at all. It has affected one of my own family who is severely deaf, stone deaf. He is in his early 70s now, but he used to get money from the EU to take a group of deaf people away on holiday. Now that's gone. There was a little village, I can't remember the name, that desperately wanted a bridge to cross a little river because otherwise they had to walk miles to get to the other side. The EU sent them the money. They've got their bridge. Wales voted for Brexit. The EU used to send them money to help them. Now, Wales thinks we, England, should supply them with that money. I absolutely boil about it, Nick.
Well, I think that's the country told. Good work. Thanks a lot, Rose. You got a lovely name, by the way, Rose.
Thank you. But thanks. I'm so thankful you are, Retainer. I know, Remainer. I know you are, and I believe the gentleman who does one in the mornings at 10 o'clock also. But all you others seem to be Brexiters. Oh, for goodness sake. Give them all a bang on the head.
All right, leave it with me. Thanks a lot, Rose.
Get some sense. All right. Bye-bye.
Cheers,
Bye-bye.
my dear. Wow, she's got more energy than all of the rest of us put together. How about that? That's telling us. Johnny says, can you please present the rest of the programme imitating the voices of Mogg, Johnson and Farage? No. I've got a throat full of builder's dust. Did I mention the builder's dust?
Stop whining.
Max says, I went to my local garden centre this afternoon and bought a big bag of multi-purpose compost. I'm just wondering what else can it be used for? Is that a joke about multi-purpose? Because if so, that's quite funny. Ordinarily, I don't like listeners with material, but I'm going to make an exception with you. What else can multi-purpose compost be used for? Nothing. What good is it? And by the way, tastes awful. 0345 6060 973. You can text 84850. Email nick@lbc.co.uk. And if you're on Twitter, it's at LBC. Friday and Saturday night at 10. Nick Abbott, LBC.
Nick Abbott on LBC.
Come on, we're running late.
Let's go to Cannock. Hello, Mel.
Hi, Nick. How are you?
Great, mate.
I don't know how you can follow that. I can follow that 94-year-old.
Yeah, don't try.
I was going to say that we should have another election, and then if the person I voted for doesn't get it, if the party I vote for doesn't win, I want another vote.
Yeah, everybody should get their own personal election, and they should vote enough times that they get their way, personally.
Yeah. Well, if you remember, before we had the referendum, we did speak. And I said that if we have a referendum, it should be for people under 50. because by the time we go through, all the ones above that will be dead.
Yeah.
So I did say that at the beginning. I was never bothered. I voted Brexit, but it wasn't. I just shrugged my shoulders. It had been the other way. I'm not a rabid frigging Brexiteer. But he's a little bet. We can have a bet on the National tomorrow.
Well, I've discovered a way of not losing money on the horses, and that's not putting any money on the horses. That's my advice to you.
I just said to your presenter she should back Warrior, but I can't remember his second name. Warrior something. But here's a bet for you. If we have elections for MEPs and Subi stands, yeah, how about that for a bet?
Right.
Because she is terrified of an election, isn't her? Because she'll be out of a job.
Well, I think that the Conservative Party in general are terrified of election because they don't think they're going to win it, and the Leavers are terrified of a second referendum because they know that they're not going to win that.
They won't. If there was another referendum, Remain would win.
Yeah, easily. And so that really just puts this entire mess into perspective. Too much bleeping perspective.
Yeah, well, I've always been a realist, Nick. I see a world as it is, not how I'd like it to be.
This idea that it's the will of the people is false. It's a lie, and it's one that they keep perpetuating over and over and over again, and nobody calls them up on it. And that it is, and the will of the people is reflecting the democratic vote. It wasn't democratic. It was the stealing of democracy. It was the opposite of democracy.
Yeah, well, a lot of people didn't vote as well.
That too, yeah. It should have been a compulsory referendum.
Yeah, I think
it was just one of the many mistakes that you-know-who made.
I think you're right on that. I think it should have been compulsory. If you're going to change a country that much, I think it should be compulsory. But never mind. At the end of the day, Game of Thrones is back on soon, so I'll be able to watch that.
Yeah, the problem with Game of Thrones is that we're going to have to watch it at that moment. We're going to have to pretty much watch it live because there's going to be spoilers all over the place the next day, aren't there? The Daily Mail are trying on a daily basis to try to spoil it for us by trying to find out some script details and then telling us before we've actually seen a bloomin' programme. Yeah. Why do they keep doing that? It's so annoying. They'll put a picture of something that shows you what the spoiler is, and then they'll put the words, warning, spoiler alert. But you've seen the picture beforehand, so you know what the bloomin' spoiler is. Yeah, God, that's annoying.
Well, it was it had been on for quite a while before I thought I'd sort of watched one episode. And I thought, man, look, so I went back and watched them all from the beginning because you got to watch it from the beginning.
Yes.
And
about halfway through, though, I've watched them all, but about halfway through, because I can't keep people's names in my mind unless I see somebody on a daily basis, then I can't remember what their name is, and that also applies to TV programs. If there's lots of characters, I just forget who everybody is. Who are these people? Where are they going? And why? I just couldn't figure it out. But eventually, this is a spoiler alert, so you might want to put your fingers in your ears and just hum to yourself for the next 5 seconds. Eventually, they all die, so you don't have to keep track of them anymore.
Well, there'll be follow-ups, won't there? There'll be some follow-ups, and someone will come back.
And I just wondered, I doubt it, how can they come back? From death?
They'll just make a serious. They'll probably take it back to the Mad King and go.
Oh, they'll undoubtedly try to, keep the money flooding in. But I did think about, shall I watch it all again? Before the final series starts, shall I watch it all again from the beginning? And I thought, well, you know what? I don't think I can put myself through that because it's quite an ordeal, isn't it?
Well, there's that, and there's the new Avengers film, Avengers Endgame.
Oh, God, who cares? I want to see
bring all them back to life.
What are you, 5? The Avengers?
I love the Avengers.
Oh, please.
I dare well love the Avengers. I'm still a kid at heart, that's what it is.
Now, we're talking about superheroes here, not the British Avengers. You're not talking about Steed and what's her name?
Captain America and all them.
Right, because they were the Avengers, weren't they? Steed and
I
his
remember
top
them.
hat.
Yeah, that was out when I was at school.
Yeah, they were called the Avengers, right?
Yeah, the Avengers.
Yeah. So how come the superheroes have taken their name?
I don't know. I don't know which one come out first. Whether the Marvel books come out first.
Well, perhaps. They've got to stop making superhero films. I mean, really, this has just got so ridiculous. The entirety of the cinema seems to be aimed at 13-year-old boys. It's pathetic.
Yeah, but I like the event. It's a fantasy. It's, I mean, we know it's not real.
It's not real? Well, don't tell us.
Superman films, isn't it? It's a fantasy. It might be handy to have someone like Superman around.
Well, yeah.
Might be able to stop Brexit.
He could bash heads together, yes.
How do you think it'll go in the end? Come on. Will we leave or we stay? I've always said we'll stay.
No, I think that we're like we're like zombies, just walking towards our, if not doom, then our imminent demise from not demise either. I'm trying to think what the right word is. Our imminent downgrade as a country, because nobody is prepared to say, hang on a minute, that referendum was hooky. There was all this dodgy money. We still don't know where it comes from. We suspect that there was Russian involvement. We suspect that billionaires who don't live here or pay tax here had a lot to do with this decision. But no one's prepared to say, hang on a minute, we're going to think about stopping this, because Project Fear states that there will be riots in the streets if people don't get their way. Well, I've lost count with how many people have said that already, or implied that there's going to be trouble.
Well, I'm sort of to the right. I'm English, and I am not going to start killing people because of bloody Brexit.
Okay, well, we'll mark you down as a pacifist. We got one.
So, like I said, I think it's a lot of rubbish. I think there might be a few windows broken up north or something, but that's about all. We've had enough of fighting, to be honest. So.
Are you kidding me? We haven't even started yet. Well, we haven't.
Well, we might fight with the French. I've never liked the French.
But the thing is, the Project Fear lot, who say that there'll be riots in the streets if the Leavers don't get their way, they're rather forgetting the fact that they're outnumbered by a large degree.
Yeah. I think there's more likely to be riots in London if we leave.
Yeah, but that's not true, and that's the reason why Leave won, is because Remainers aren't single issue obsessives. Well, Leavers are. It's what they think about morning, noon, and night, and so 100% of Leavers went out to vote, but a much smaller percentage of Remainers went out to vote because they had other things on their mind, which is also why they won't riot.
The only reason people riot, Matt, my friend, is so they can loot the blimmin' shops at the end of the day.
Get free TV and a pair of trainers.
Free TV. I mean, I think it was my sister said, well, but, you can't, because I said they used to shoot looters. And I says, yeah, but you can't shoot someone because they're going to, pinching a can of beans because they're hungry.
No.
They're going to be pinching cans of beans. They're going to be nicking the TV.
All right. Well, when it all comes down, Mel, I'll see you with a crowbar outside PC World. It's a date. All right. Thanks a lot, mate. 0345 6060 973. Let's have Southwest Scotland. God, that's a bit vague. Simon.
How are you doing, Nick?
Good, thanks.
I'm ringing this morning just to update you on the history of the egg.
The egg?
The chocolate egg.
Ah.
Now, what it started off was obviously at the turn as from Jesus, the mythical rolling of the stone away from the tomb, and back in Eastern Europe, Western Europe, and Eastern part there where it came from, that they would paint the stones. Then it developed into egg, and as it moved through.
Well, wait a minute, back up. What, they painted the stones?
Yeah, people would paint stones. They would paint them red.
Why?
Which was like the blood of Christ from the crucifixion. And that's where the painted colours come from. And as the traditions over the last sort of 2,000 years, well, mostly first 1,700 years, moved through Europe, especially up into Russia, where painted eggs became a great symbol. And Fabergé then took that on and became something of an amazing product, the Fabergé egg.
Yeah, and then starred in the Antiques Roadshow almost every week.
Yeah, I do. And of course, in lower parts of Germany, Austria, the egg then started to develop into chocolate eggs.
Well, that's a big leap.
I mean, I lived in Germany
isn't that a big leap?
It was. Well, I mean, I lived in Germany for 25 years, and of course there we always roll the eggs on Easter Sunday down a hill, and you paint them different colours. And
yeah, but those were hard-boiled.
Those
were hard-boiled hen eggs, though, right?
Yeah, they were. But of course, then as the Victorian era developed, they wanted confectionery. They started developing chocolate eggs and things as sugar started to come out from the Caribbean.
Yeah.
They wanted to get these sweeter and sweeter things, and that's where the first eggs were solid chocolate, and then they developed the new processes of making them hollow. Then obviously they could cut prices down. But of course, then the Easter Bunny itself was German Quakers going to America, especially around the Pennsylvania way, where they had this mythical bunny that laid eggs, and that's where the bunny came from as part of it. And of course, it was Fry's of Bristol that actually first brought the first chocolate eggs to Britain. So,
is that right?
And of course, Fry was a Quaker as well. So it's funny how it all started off as back in the turn of Jesus, it was to celebrate painting stones of the blood from the crucifixion. And now it's developed into this massive industry of people making money.
Well, I am stunned. But finally, we've learned something. It only took 3 hours, and finally, we've learned something. Where have you been all my show? That's excellent work. Thanks a lot, Simon. Wow. This show's an education, isn't it?
No.
Every now and again. Well, we'll regroup, and whatever happens over the next 21 hours, we'll chew it up and spit it out then, eh? If you want to be amused for half an hour, then check out my podcast. It's called The Nick Abbot Habit. It's available on an internet near you. It's you've got the global player, then you will find it on there if you do Apple. Otherwise, wherever they do podcasts, The Nick Abbot Habit, ask for it by name. Steve Allen will set you straight at 5 o'clock. I don't doubt it for a second. But right now, here's